aujourd'hui, je vais introduire Vikram Devatha, que j'ai pensé intéressant d'interviewer, puisque en ce moment, je suis en train de proposer un cycle de mantras et astrologie. Et tout doucement, je vais passer à l'anglais pour pouvoir faire qu'il nous comprenne aussi. So, Vikram, we have known each other for about almost 15 years. I could say that, and known each other well.
Yeah.
I've seen you doing astrology workshop consultations for many years, and I wanted to ask you a few questions that could be of interest for Western people, or
sure.
All people actually, but
sure.
So tell us maybe how astrology came into your life.
How it came into my life. I feel there's been a calling for many years, much before I started astrology. Just the drive to understand what this universe is of and what is my place in this universe. And I tried many different things to find my answers. For instance, I tried the I Ching, I tried the tarot, I worked with crystals. I tried all these different disciplines to find my answers.
You tried yoga as well.
I've tried yoga as well. Yeah. And that's the thing, no? The Vedas have given me my way to understanding myself. You know? And everything about the Vedas, it is just so fascinating for me. You know, it can be yoga, it can be Ayurveda. I play the sitar, so that is classical, comes from the Vedas, and astrology. As a child, my grandmother used to tell me stories. Every night before I go to bed, she used to tell all of us, all the cousins, a story, one story. And it was always from the Vedas. And today I see that they're all so interconnected. The stories from the Vedas, the philosophy from the Upanishads, the astrology from also which is Vedic. So yeah, you know, to come back to your question, I think the seeds were planted very early in childhood, and they have just sprouted as someone who practices astrology now.
So you were trained in university, if I remember well?
Yeah.
For astrology?
Yeah, I did a postgraduate diploma in astrology. But my actual training is in economics and in management and in something we call as data science. But astrology is my passion, you know, and yeah, it's taken over my life.
How would you define astrology? What is it for you? That thing that has taken your life over?
What is astrology? For me, astrology is a way of relating our lives with what is happening in the skies above. So imagine you're crossing a river, and then you happen to meet me. What I do, or what astrology does, is to understand that river that you're crossing.
What kind of fish you will meet, what kind of
storm
currents
is there, what kind of currents, how deep is the river, which direction is the river flowing. And based on that understanding, I ask you, where is it that you want to go? So if you say that you want to go downstream, then I'll say that you don't need to do anything because the river is going there. But if you tell me that you want to go upstream, then I may say you may need a boat or you need to learn how to swim. So that understanding the river,
the context.
The context in which you have taken birth, the life currents when you took birth. So, to give you an example, say someone who is born in the middle of a war, as compared to someone who's born when there's no war, when everything is at peace, when the flowers are blooming. The context in which birth started, when life started, is very different. It's going to affect the individual a lot. So, understanding the context, but using the planets, what we call as the navagrahas, and the rashis, or the stars, the zodiacal signs. That is astrology. Yeah.
So you are talking about the primary context when we were born,
Yeah.
and then there is also whatever happens during a lifespan.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. So that we call as the transit chart, gochara, of what's happening in a certain point. So if we go back to that river analogy, the transit chart tells you the weather patterns on that river as you're crossing, which changes day to day. But the direction that that river is going, that's broadly, it's decided
At birth.
at birth.
Or at conception.
At conception, yeah.
Okay. So crossing a river is a life's journey. One life's journey. Yes.
Or it could be many lives journeys.
Okay.
So, an example I usually give is that of an alcoholic. Now, the currents in his life or her life is to continue to drink. But is that what they want? Because if that is what they want, then I'll say don't do anything, just continue. But sometimes we have to fight our currents, fight our tendencies to go against the direction of the river. In which case a lot of effort is needed, and in this case it may take more than one life. That's beyond our,
Precise example made me think of, in philosophy of yoga, what is called samskaras and vasanas. So it's the same.
Exactly that. So it's the vasanas that we see in the chart. But there is always free will, that you can fight those vasanas and be a better person. Or not. That has to come from within. You need to have that strong drive to either fight or not those vasanas.
When you were saying that you can just go with the flow, it would mean that the flow takes you in a wrong or in a path that is not so healthy and not so sattvic, we can say, in the case of an alcoholic. How to... So is it sometimes needed to fight? What is it?
And that is an individual's choice. This is a tricky example, of an alcoholic, right? So we, looking at an alcoholic, we may say, no, this is not your path. But who are we to judge?
Maybe that's his karma, and
the person has to decide.
Okay. So it's there is that question of at each moment when we cross new experiences, new maybe when we meet new persons, when we have that choice of going one way or another, something like that.
We always have a choice. It's just that sometimes the currents are so strong that you have to swim extra hard to go in your direction. But with practice, you will learn how to swim. With practice, you will learn to fight your vasanas. That initial effort may be difficult, but it's possible. Sri Aurobindo, for instance, he says the more you progress on the path, on the spiritual path, the less likely the stars have an influence on you.
So working on oneself also help to get detached from their influence.
Yeah. So to put this in the context of the river, a master swimmer can go anywhere in the river. It does not matter how the currents are. He's a master.